It has been a year since his arrest, but Najib Razak appeared impressed by his fans who greeted him at the court porch this morning. Shaking hands with them while smiling widely, he remarked, "Hari Hari Ada, you're all here faithfully every day." Though their numbers fluctuate day to day, the former Prime Minister always had at least one supporter waiting for him in court. Over the weekend, Najib fed his fandom by attending a beach event in his constituency in Pekan. The group, largely made up of bikers who donned grey t-shirts with the words Bosku Kawan emblazoned on them, even took the ex-PM, who also wore the same t-shirt, on a motorcycle ride. In case you're unfamiliar, Bosku is a popular moniker given to Najib. Bosku Kawan means my boss is a friend.
Aras 5.
By the Malaysian Insight, this is The People versus Najib Razak. Follow us into the courtroom where it all happens. I'm Patrick Teo. This morning, Najib, clad in a light brown suit with matching tie, had to appear before Judge Colin Sekera first. That's the judge who will be presiding over the 1MDB trial. Attorney General Tommy Thomas was seeking to vacate more 1MDB trial dates in August and September to make way for the SRC trial. But the judge refused to grant an adjournment. The 1MDB case hearing is slated to begin on August 19th, where Najib will be tried on 25 counts of money laundering and 4 counts of abuse of power. Less than 30 minutes later, Najib was back in Judge Muhammad Naslan Muhammad Ghazali's courtroom for the SRC International trial. He took a seat at the public gallery while his aide prepared the 2 yellow cushions in the dock. Before proceedings could begin, Prosecutor V. Sitambaram pointed out that 17 documents were missing from court, transparencies of scanned letters of instructions. It turned out that the defense was still making photocopies. Lead counsel Shafi Abdullah said they had informed court officials and that there was no hanky-panky involved. It was not in the best interest of the defense to tamper with the documents. Judge Naslan ruled that in the future, for any exhibit that has been marked, any proposal to photocopy them must first have written permission from the prosecution and the judge. Subo Muhammad Yassin, the prosecution's 42nd witness, was back on the stand for the 5th day. The former SRC director is a frail man who uses a walking stick to help him move around, the result of a stroke he suffered in 2017. Harvey resumed his cross-examination for a short while before his colleague Shafi took over. Let us hear from Ray.
Shafi's questioning was a lot easier to follow than Harvey's. He asked Subo about the phone calls he received from Nik Faisal Arif Kamil, the missing SRC CEO. Subo told the court that in 2018, Nik Faisal called him while he was holidaying in Jakarta and asked him to go to Bangkok. He refused. But in 2015, he did as instructed and went to Bangkok with his wife. There, they stayed for a month. Shafi asked if he went anywhere else. Subo said no, until the lawyer reminded him that he also went to Abu Dhabi. Shafi asked Subo if he ever questioned Nik Faisal's instructions, which seemed to stump the witness as he kept silent for a while. He kept saying, "I don't know," then said he was confused. Shafi pressed on, asking why he followed Nik Faisal's instructions blindly. Subo couldn't answer this question and stuck to, "I did not ask." The lawyer said perhaps Nik Faisal had told him that he had signed many checks on his behalf and now they were under investigation. Subo said none of this transpired. What Shafi was getting at was that Subo left the country because someone told him he may have done something wrong, but Subo disagreed. All he was told was to leave the country. He eventually returned because he felt it was safe to come back.
During this exchange, Najib had his legs crossed and arm propped up. He seemed to be paying attention to the questioning. When Shafi suggested yet again that the witness may have harbored feelings that he did in fact commit wrongdoing during his time at SRC, Subo replied, without missing a beat, no comment. The defense then asked about his trip to Jakarta immediately after voting in GE14 in 2018, without waiting for the results to be announced. Subo said he didn't know how to explain, settling on he just needed a break. Shafi was done with him soon after, and court took a break. Najib headed straight to the cafeteria for a cup of coffee. Proceedings resumed with Prosecutor Sitam re-examining Subo. Like the defense, he also decided to examine signatures. But unlike the defense, he focused on Nick Faisal's instead of Subo's. Sitam suggested that Nick Faisal's signature was also copy-pasted, as they were all identical. Subo said he was shocked to be shown this, but did not know who could have done something like this. Sitam moved on to SRC's bank statements, going through transactions to Putra Pradana Construction, SRC subsidiary Gandingan Mentari, and CSR arm Ihsan Pradana. Sitam was trying to show that the defense's argument that Nick Faisal embezzled money was untrue, saying no SRC money went into Nick Faisal's private accounts. This seemed to rile up the defense as they continuously objected to this line of questioning. Soon, Subo was let go. He looked relieved that the questioning was over. Court then broke for lunch, and as usual, Najib left in his black sedan. Court resumed after lunch with the 43rd witness, former Finance Ministry Secretary Maliami Hamad, taking the stand. Maliami was Afida Azwa Abdul Aziz's boss. Afida was witness number 41, the Deputy Secretary in the Ministry's Strategic Investments Department. She was involved in drawing up the memorandums for the KWAP loans. Maliami said his duty was to evaluate and help approve loans from companies related with MOF, the National Higher Education Fund, MOF Inc., and from state governments. He read out from a prepared statement, going on and on as if he was reading from a storybook. Ray will tell us more.
Maliami said SRC wrote a letter to the ministry to request for a government guarantee for a 2 billion ringgit loan from KWAP, and he had met Nick Faisal on August 11, 2011. After the meeting, he asked Afida to prepare the memorandum. The memorandum was signed and approved by then Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Economic Planning Unit, Nur Muhammad Yaakob, on August 15, 2011, the same day it was prepared. He told the court he was pressured to prepare the memorandum and claimed that Najib, who was Prime Minister at the time, was behind it. Then on January 2012, SRC requested another guarantee letter for an additional 2 billion ringgit loan, and the government agreed. This time, MOF wrote to KWAP and asked that the funds be disbursed before the government guarantee was issued. Maliami said that this was unprecedented. SRC received its second loan disbursement in March 2012, but the guarantee letter was only given to KWAP on May 12, 2012, 2 months later. The witness also confirmed Afida's testimony that he had asked her to prepare the memorandum despite her protest because Najib had an interest in the company and that the funds were required immediately.
The prosecution ended their questioning soon after. Court took a 10-minute break during which Najib made himself comfortable at the benches outside and chatted with his aide. Harvey began his cross-examination after the break. Before he was able to get into anything substantial, Judge Naslan decided to call it a day. Court will resume tomorrow at 9 a.m. This podcast is produced, written and mixed by Revati Subramaniam, Yap Pik Kwan, Yvonne Lim and Ravin Palanisamy. I'm Patrick Teo.